don't forget to check out our grades for all of the prospects in this year's draft class by visiting the link at the bottom of the screen. The Pittsburgh Steelers seem to have a draft each season where you sit back and wonder to yourself, how do they allow this team to get that player? This draft, in my opinion, follows that MO completely. Chukwuma Okorafor out of Western Michigan is a good player that can play tackle or guard. He's still rough around the edges a bit, but won't be pressed into immediate action, which is best for his long-term viability. I was on the broadcast at the Tropical Bowl this past January, and Josh Frazier out of Alabama was one of the standouts all week long, so I'm not surprised that his hard work paid off in him getting his name called in the 7th round. Now, what I liked about the Steelers draft was that they got more dynamic on the offensive side of the ball. James Washington reminds me a lot of Chris Chambers in the way he's able to release off the line of scrimmage, stack the defensive back, and then make the catch deep down the field. I believe he's one of the best deep ball threats in this draft class and is an instant upgrade at the position over the departed Martavis Bryant. Jalen Samuels out of North Carolina State is your quintessential jack-of-all-trades type player. I graded him out as an H-back, but he can be a running back, a fullback, slot receiver, or whatever you want him to be. The point is, you don't have to take him off the field because he's a game breaker that puts pressure on opposing defenses. I also liked how they attacked the safety position as well. Terrell Edmonds out of Virginia Tech and Marcus Allen out of Penn State were our number 3 and number 2 strong safeties respectively, and both bring a variety of skills to the table. I can see Edmonds in more of your traditional strong safety role, while Allen, I can envision him being the replacement for Ryan Shazier against certain teams, or in an overhang role as a slot safety that's also capable to match up versus some wide receivers, backs, or even tight ends. This gives them some great flexibility on the back end. Now, what I questioned was the Mason Rudolph selection. I feel as though he's very similar to what they have already in Landry Jones, whom they seem to love as a number 2. Plus, they drafted Josh Dobbs last year in the 4th round. Now, do they plan to move on from Jones, or do they plan to move on from Dobbs? That's why it seemed a bit questionable when they made this pick for a quarterback in round 3. Quadri Henderson out of Pitt is an excellent football player, and I say football player because he's very similar to Jalen Samuels in the sense that he can be moved all around the offense and help out in special teams as well. He'll be a training camp and preseason star come August. Trey Johnson out of Villanova is a tremendous athlete that can play multiple spots in the secondary. Now, he has the athleticism to play on the field side, the awareness and quickness to play in the slot, and also as a safety. So again, yet another versatile piece they've added to the secondary. The same can be said for Jamar Summers out of UConn, who started at both corner and safety for the Huskies throughout the course of his career, and he's very similar to Johnson in the sense that he can play multiple spots on the back end. Ola Adeyemi out of Toledo is a very underrated defender. He dealt with some injuries at Toledo, but when he's on the field, he's a difference maker, showing multiple ways to get to the quarterback. And I thought Matthew Thomas out of Florida State showed really good range and athleticism in the pass defense department. I also believe that he can play inside on this Steelers defense. I gave the Steelers an A for their draft. They knocked it out of the park on both sides of the ball. James Washington, Terrell Edmonds, Marcus Allen, and Jalen Samuels, in my opinion, will be instant impact players on this team as rookies.